The All Blacks are set to face off against the Wallabies this weekend after their slaughtering against the Springboks a few weeks ago. So how will they perform? Gregor Paul, rugby analyst, joins us now. Hey, thanks so much for being with us, Gregor. So just first of all, I mean, how much of a blow is it to lose the captain, Scott Barrett?
Probably not as significant as might have previously been considered if this was a couple of years ago when Scott Barrett was arguably the best lock in the world. But at the moment, I don't think he's been playing particularly well. I think he's been troubled by niggly injuries. I think he's carrying the captaincy quite heavily. And in Ardie Savea, the guy who'll take over, he's done it 10, 11, 12 times, whatever it is. Like, I don't think it will be that significant. I think it's an opportunity for Barrett to get himself right, to get his body right, to have a bit of mental relief and come back next week.
Yeah, and so is Ardie, taking over the captaincy? I mean, is he a pretty inspirational leader? Has he got what it takes to fire the All Blacks up for this really critical match?
Well, have you seen him play?
Yeah, absolutely.
You could probably drop an alien in from a different planet, sit them down, watch a game of rugby, and they go, "Who's that? Who's that guy wearing the number 7? He looks better than everyone else." Clearly he's inspirational in the way that he plays. Clearly he's inspirational in the way he lives his life, the way he carries himself, the manner that he has. I mean, all of these factors. There's an argument here about whether he should actually just be doing this job anyway, not just this weekend. But in terms of a captaincy role, I don't think the All Blacks lose anything by having him doing it this week.
The All Blacks always back up after a loss. So what will be the All Blacks' focus to restore their pride in the black jersey after being thumped by South Africa? Like, where do you think their strategy is ahead of Saturday?
Well, I'd probably back up a wee bit. I don't know if they always back up from a loss. That's probably not quite right. And it's an important point because we have this assumption that this is what will happen, that they live in this cyclical world where they get beaten, they win, they get beaten, they win. Look, I think that's clearly to turn their fortunes around this week, will have to be accurate. I mean, they were massively inaccurate in Wellington. They lacked intensity at times across everything that they did. But really, it's probably about getting cohesive understanding about what they're trying to do. That looks a bit vague to me. The players don't look certain about the game plan that they have. They don't look sure about what they're doing in different parts of the field. All that kind of technical stuff as well, in terms of how far do they kick the ball, how deep do they play when they're trying to attack against, how do they take the ball up in the traffic. All of these things look uncertain, and that's presumably what they've been doing this week, is getting clarity in all of that. But really, it's about accuracy. Catch the high ball, kick it in the right places, make good tackles. It's not that difficult to know what they need to do.
Yeah, okay. So just with coach Scott Robertson, I mean, is he being out-coached at an international level at the moment? And if we have a dire performance this weekend, what does that mean in terms of his leadership?
Not sure if he's being out-coached per se. I mean, you clearly look at the All Blacks and go, well, they've got a lot of good players. They're not. If you line their players up against Australia's or South Africa's, you'd be thinking, well, New Zealand should really have a good chance of winning this game. There's a talent there. So then you look at, well, why is that not happening? Is it the coaching group? Well, at times, probably. You'd have to look at that. Are they putting the right players on the park? Have they got the right strategy? So I don't know if he's being out-coached as such, but he's clearly not getting a deep enough connection with the team at times to get them through 80 minutes of how they need to play. If they don't win this weekend, well, look, I mean, he's under a lot of pressure as All Blacks coach every day of his life. I don't know. There's an argument to say that the losses will be mounting in a similar degree to the way they were when New Zealand rugby became concerned about his predecessor, Ian Foster, and they started to look pretty closely at making changes in his coaching team and indeed about moving him on. So a defeat will be a difficult thing to just brush off and say everything's going to come right, because there's also an Eden Park factor here. They haven't lost there, and I can't even remember now. Was it 31 years, 51 games, whatever it is? So that if that record goes and it gives the Wallabies a great chance to take back the Bledisloe, it will feel like the last pillar of an empire is about to fall over. So, look, I think there'd have to be some sort of serious review into what's going on if they don't win.
Yeah, okay. And so what are the chances? The Bledisloe Cup, as you've said, is the only trophy left in New Zealand's rugby cabinet. So is that on the line? What's your predictions, Gregor?
Well, it's clearly on the line because Australia can come and win the game, and that puts them in a chance to go back to Perth next week and take possession of the trophy. Australia are an improving team. Their trajectory's been good under Joe Schmidt. Obviously, it's not easy to win at Eden Park for visiting teams because no one's managed to do it for that long. But look, this is about as good an opportunity as I can recall Australia having in terms of where they're at in their growth, where New Zealand are, lack of confidence, all that kind of stuff. So that absolutely, this is a game that I think Australia have. This is the best chance I've seen in probably 20 years. I can't remember the last time you actually felt they could win it, but this is slightly different. I think they could, but probably going back to your earlier point, the All Blacks typically do respond after a defeat, and I would be surprised if they don't have enough venom in the tank to win.
Okay, Gregor Paul, thanks very much for your analysis as always. Well, New Zealand's biggest short